Hello, good evening, and welcome to yet another session of Ask Me Anything. Hope I'm clear. Hope you can listen. Am I audible? That's what I want to see. Okay, so welcome to yet another session. Last week we had a problem with the audio. Yes, Kamalnath, you can listen. You can hear me, right? Oh, good. Okay, so let's start today. Muthukumar, fine. So normally what I do is I talk about a subject for about 5 minutes, 7 minutes, and then it's open to questions. People can ask me any question. Okay, that's why it's called Ask Me Anything, and I will try to answer to my capability. Okay, so shall we start? So, Ask Me Anything weekly session. So, today, what we're going to talk about is RaktaMoksha, or the fifth Panchakarma. Panchakarma is five, and the fifth of that. Okay, so now Chikitsa or treatment is basically classified as Shamana, where you pacify, or Shodhana, where you remove the doshas, okay, where you cleanse. So it's called pacification and purification. Okay, and this purification is basically the Shodhana is divided into three: Purva Karma, Pradhana Karma, and Paschat Karma. Purva Karma is preparing the patient for the Panchakarma, and that is a Pradhana Karma, and Paschat Karma is post Panchakarma care. All these three are extremely important. Okay, so under the Pradhana Karma, we have got Vamana, Virechana, Nasya, Vasti, and RaktaMoksha, on which we are going to talk today. Okay, so RaktaMoksha, this is a process by which blood is removed from the system. The different ways in which we remove the blood. So the removal of blood, moksha means what? Coming out, or expelling. So when you expel yourself from this world and get connected to the next world, you call that moksha. So blood is also getting expelled. That is Rakta Moksha. Okay, blood is getting moksha from the body. So good for all the two doshas, but it is more for pitta and exclusively for Rakta dosha. And when you look at where the pitta stays, the ashray bhava, that means the dosha and the dhatus, it is more in the Rakta Dhatu. Okay, so it is for Pitta dosha, and more specifically for any dosha in the Rakta. When you've got very small doshas in the Rakta, we do Virechana. When there are more of doshas, that's when we do RaktaMoksha. Okay, so it is classified basically into two: Sashastra and Anushastra. Okay, Shastra is with instruments. Okay, you can use something to cut the veins or break and stuff like that. So that means you use an instrument. And Anushastra is not directly using an instrument. You can use a lot of other things, okay, which are not sharp instruments. For example, leech is something which is not a sharp instrument. That all those things come under Anushastra. So Shastra and Anushastra. Okay. So in Sashastra, that means when you're using the instrument, there's something called Prachannam. Prachannam is, small. You keep on pricking the place to release blood out of it. Okay, we do it in the scalp, especially when you have got hair loss in circles. Okay, so we do that Prachannam over there to remove that blood. Okay, and Siravyatham is, Sira means your vein, and Vyatham is to cut. So cutting the vein to remove blood is again another way in which you do it. Suppose your vein is like this, we never cut it like this. We only cut it longitudinally. Then only it will heal. If you cut it vertically, then it is split into two. It's very difficult to join after that. Okay, so cutting it horizontally is what Acharya says. Now, Anushastra, right? You have got Shringa, which is for Vata, that is a horn which is being used. Jaluka for Pitta, that is a leech. And Alabu, or cupping, it can be a huge. Alabu is basically a god which is round in shape, okay, which is being used. It comes like, you would have seen cupping, okay, on Instagram or in different social media, where they use a glass vessel. Alabu is also a round vessel, okay, that is being used, and that is normally used for Rakta dosha, which has got too much of kapha in it. Okay, so you can start asking your questions. So this is generally about RaktaMoksha. And normally when we look at the Panchakarma part of it, Sushruta basically considers Rakta as a separate entity, and he focuses more on RaktaMoksha when compared to Charaka or Sushruta. Okay, so only major thing is that the dosha, the disease should be of extreme thing where you have got too much of doshas, and that excess dosha is in the blood for us to do RaktaMoksha. Okay, small things in the recta we can do virechana, but if it is excess, we do RaktaMoksha. And one thing is that means the disease should be really strong, and the person who is undergoing that also should have the strength, both physical and mental strength, to go through it. Okay, so these two things are very, very important. Okay, so people have started asking questions. Now let me see. Okay, why foods with ruksha quality cannot be countered by just drinking water? Why oil is required to balance it? Okay, Tejashamurthy, that's actually a very good question. Okay, ruksha in English means dry. Okay, and the opposite of dry is wet, English language. But if you look at ruksha from a Sanskrit point of view, especially from an Ayurvedic point of view, ruksha means dry. Okay, and but the thing is that when you wet it, okay, what happens is after some time, what happens is once the water escapes or evaporates, it again becomes dry. So dryness is not removed, but the moment it comes in contact with something that is oily, then it cannot go back becoming dry. That is why we say for ruksha, the right treatment. See, drinking a little bit of water and all will help you for, it's a temporary thing. But if you need a permanent solution for that object or that part of the body to become snigdha, opposite of ruksha, snigdha. Opposite of ruksha is not drava, not water. Ruksha is snigdha, so it stays permanently in a soft state. Okay, so approach for ruksha, opposite is snigdha or lubrication. Hope that is clear. Kamalnath, is goat milk best to relieve emaciation? If so, what is the proper way to consume? I was going through Agresam of Charaka Samhita. Yeah, see, if you look at the human body and the goat, Acharya mostly tries to compare whatever is in reduction in the human body to, and they ask us to substitute with that with the goat. So we have to understand that goat is the animal which Acharya considers to be closest to human being, and there are a lot of studies also which happen in the modern thing, and they say that yes, goat is definitely close to human being, structurally. So when you want to build muscle, people don't say chicken or like beef or something else. They say go for mutton. Okay, when there is a fracture, we normally say what, mutton soup, atukal soup in Tamil, and in Tamil we say that is one, and if there is a problem with the blood, we say mutton liver. Okay, and even for blood transfusion, if you want to eat, we ask people to eat blood. That means after a goat is slaughtered, that blood is taken. It is people actually fry it in ghee and eat it to improve the quality of blood. So everything is basically blood for extreme emaciation. Okay, as I said, since goat is the closest one, goat's milk is the one that is considered to be the best. Even when a woman is breastfeeding and there is a dip in the quantity of milk, the first substitute is not cow's milk. The first substitute is goat's milk, which is quite similar to human milk. Okay, so goat in most ways are the best substitute for humans. Rajesh, does Ayurveda say anything about fractures? Yes, definitely, Tejashamurthy. Ayurveda, there's a chapter called Bhagna Chikitsa. Bhagna means break. Okay, when the bones break, there are different kinds of fractures that have been mentioned in Ayurveda, and detailed treatment also has been mentioned. But one thing you have to consider, okay, taking into consideration the modern uh, fracture setting, you mean how you set the fracture back and the fracture in those days. Even if you look at anything, for that matter, even if you look at dentistry, it is more of, how do I call it? Plastic surgeons have come into play a lot. It is a lot to do with appearance, especially, what do you call dentistry. And even when you look at surgeries, they say even if you do a surgery properly, they say that my sutures should not be visible outside. So it's a lot to do with appearance plus function. I don't pull the function now, but in those days they were more bothered about if a person gets a fracture. Okay, after the fracture sets, is that person being able to use that limb anymore? So the focus was on getting that limb back, and so that he can start working. In those days, 2000 years back, it was only about farming or doing such certain stuff, or your skill, whether they can still use that limb. So it was pretty, I would say it was slightly on the cruder side, but they were experts in that. Okay, they could make out by experts could actually make out by touch whether there is a break in the bone or not. And they would set it, they would tie bamboo stakes, they would keep it immobilized, so that they knew that within 2 to 3 weeks that the bone will again set. And there are a lot of medicines. So asthi shrinkhala is one medicine which is very, very popular. People apply it externally and also consume it. Cissus quadrangularis. Okay, in Malayalam it's called Changalam Baranda. That is one thing which is considered to be the best for joining bones. So people had the knowledge of fractures, and they were treating fractures. And there were also medicines which were prepared for fractures. But you can't compare with what is happening nowadays. Okay, because as I said, the purpose of any the moment the fracture happens nowadays, it's not only about setting that bone back. There should be absolutely no misalignment, and the way they keep it, screw it, and all those things. It's a different level altogether. Okay, it is not only limited to the function, but also the way it looks after everything is done. Okay, hope I've answered you, Tejashamurthy. Kamalnath, I think you have been going through Charaka Samhita a lot. Apamarga is mentioned as best in doshas from the head. Could you please explain a little about it? Okay. So normally, Apamarga Apamarga is something, Kadaladi in Malayalam. Okay. You can make an oil with Apamarga, or even Apamarga Churna is taken. Apamarga Churna is extremely effective. That fine powder is, you can take it inside nose. The moment it goes in, you will start sneezing, and a lot of kapha will come out, a lot of phlegm will come out from the nose. Otherwise, you can make an oil with Apamarga, and then you can use that also for Nasya. Okay, that's actually a technical and a theoretical question from Kamalnath. You have been going through Charaka Samhita, right? My body smells slightly in the night. Is better to sleep directly or bath and sleep? Tejashamurthy, it's a personal choice. Okay, whether you want to take a shower before bath or not. If you feel you are smelling, then I would say it is good for you to take a shower. But see that you don't take a shower immediately after dinner. Wait for about an hour and a half, or at least 2 hours. And before you take that shower, or while taking that shower, don't spend too much of time under the water. A quick shower would be okay, to make you smell really good and make you feel fresh to sleep. But normally we say taking a shower after food is not a good thing, because it prevents the food from digesting properly. Okay, so absolutely no issues. You can definitely take a shower. Okay, so no more questions. Yes, there are a few questions again. Yeah. How certain foods were identified as having Lekhana properties? What experiment would have been done? That is actually a good question, which even I don't know. A lot of people don't know how they would have found out the properties of most medicines. See, certain things, when they are rough, we know that they have got Lekhana property, they can scrape. But things like honey, okay, which generally when you look at honey, you don't know, that's not rough at all for you to feel. But honey has got one of the best Lekhana properties, and that's the one that can remove kapha really well. Say, for example, you have got cough, and you have got with a lot of phlegm. So any medicine, like it can be Sitopaladi or Talisapatra Churnam, when people have prescribed it, when you have got phlegm, we ask them to take it along with honey so that the powder gives you effect for cough, but when added with honey will exactly scrape or do lekhana of the kapha. And once that kapha is gone, then the same churna, same powder can be used, uh, can be mixed with little honey and more of ghee or a little bit of ghee, so that the cough which has become dry can be later taken care of. So it's extremely unsure, okay, as to how acharyas have defined properties to karmas to certain dravyas. Okay, it's a wonder. I was watching Upanishad Ganga series. There they said only 3 by 8 branches of Ayurveda is practiced in this age. Why is it so? I don't know what do they mean by 3 by 8. Okay. Uh, because we have got 8 branches: Kaya, Bala, Graha, Urdhvanga, Shalya, Damshra, Jara, Vrshan. 8 branches. Okay. Only 3 in the sense I would not agree to that. Kaya Chikitsa, general medicine is definitely being practiced. Bala, pediatrics is definitely being practiced. Graha is something, which is sometimes doubtful, but there are a lot of people who are still practicing. Graha Chikitsa is Bhuta Vidya and, Mani, Mangala, Homa, and all those things. They integrate that also into Ayurveda practice. That means, you get an astrologer to look into your horoscope and do that puja. There's a lot of things, those things to a certain extent is that's also being practiced. Kaya, Bala, Graha. Urdhvanga is being practiced a lot. That means any disease above the clavicle. We have got specialized hospitals for eye disorders. Ear is taken care of really well. Nose, yes. So that's also there. Kaya, Bala, Grudhanga. Shalya. Shalya is basically a surgery. Yes, there are a lot of people who are doing surgeries, but surgeries are limited. They are mostly into what removal of warts, or I'm telling you, then anorectal diseases are being taken care of really well, like piles, fissures, and fistula. And I would say Ayurvedic approach is still the best approach. Okay, so Shalya, Damstra is Visha Chikitsa has definitely been, poisoning is definitely been taken care. Damstra Jara, and then next is Rasayana, yes, Vajikarna, yes. So all the 8 are being put into practice. So I'm not very sure where you listen to this. I don't totally agree to this, but it doesn't mean that all the 8 we are able to put all the 8 into totality. Okay, as explained in the books in those days, but all the 8 branches are being practiced. Okay, Tejaswamurthy. I feel weird after afternoon sleep. Is it good or bad? Feeling weird, I don't know whether it is good for anybody. But the reason why you feel weird is because your body becomes extremely heavy after an afternoon nap, because kapha goes up. Okay, so somebody who wants to put on weight, the best thing for you to do is consume good food in good quantity, especially heavy sweet foods, and see that you sleep in the afternoon. You will put on weight, but that weight is not good weight. Okay, and people who are aspiring to lose weight, we tell them not to sleep in the afternoon, because what ratri jagarnam ruksham, you stay awake at night, it is ruksha or drying. Okay, divaswapnam snigdham ati snigdham. Sleeping during the day is extremely what you call snigdha or lubricating. That means it will increase the bulk in your body. That's the reason why you feel weird. Many people, after they lie down and sleep in the afternoon, it's very difficult for them to get up after that sleep. You need a crane to come and pick you up. So kapha goes up really bad. Don't do sleeping in the afternoon if you are not indicated, you are not sick or something like that. In the Anushastra slide, you mentioned about too much vata in Rakta. What are symptoms in that case? Normally in vata Rakta, what happens is Rakta and vata, you will have pain. Okay, and because there is Rakta involved in that, you will also have a reddish color, or you will have burning sensation in that. And that is where, we use Shringa, because Shringa is Madhura Rasa, and it is also warm to touch. So that will reduce the vata, and it will not disturb the pitta also. It's not very hot, so it will not disturb the pitta also. So in conditions where you have got pain associated with burning sensation or redness or stuff like that, where you've got pitta also, then If it is localized and you don't have you, then I would say you can use Shringa for Vata. Okay, hope it is clear. Is Madhura Rasa heavy to digest among all this? Yes. Okay, you have got Madhura, Amla, Lavana, Tikta, Katu, Kashaya. 6 rasas, okay. And of the 6 rasas, Yatha Purvam Balavaham. That's what Ashtanga Hridaya says. Yatha Purvam Balavaham. The one that comes before Balavaham gives you more strength. That means the least strength providing is Kashaya, and the most strength providing is Madhura. And Madhura Rasa, when you look at the Pancha Mahabhuta combination, it is predominantly Prithvi and Jala. That means it is mostly earth and water. That makes it very, very heavy. Okay. And that is the one that will build your structure pretty fast. Okay. Your mass, it builds your mass pretty fast. So it is the heaviest. So we advise you to have the Madhura Rasa Ahara in the beginning of the food. And don't get confused, Madhura Rasa is not sweetened foods like jalebi, laddu, kheer or something, It is it is dravyas which are innately sweet, like dal or ghee or whatever it is, Those are supposed to be consumed in the beginning. Tejas, I'm getting uncontrolled sleep like snake biting me. Is that dosha? Yes, it is definitely could be dosha imbalance. It could be more of pitta and vata going up in your system right now, because dreams also decide what kind of things, what kind of dosha is going up both in your body and in your mind. Okay, so I would say that you have to relax a little bit. You might be stressed. There might be tension happening. Okay, you have to relax a little bit. So many things are happening where you're getting angry also with yourself and you're not indecisive. Okay, you are indecisive and you're not able to make a decision. So that is one lakshana. Is there a refined is there a refined to fix Agni? And understand your question, but I think I would answer how to fix your Agni. Okay, Agni is not something which you can just by lighting a match you get Agni. That's not the way you can fix Agni. Here, the reason why the Agni went off balance is also because of your food, your lifestyle, and your thought. Ahara, Vihara, Vichara. That's major reason why your Agni goes off track. And if it has to come back into track, yes, you can use Aushadha also, but Aushadha is the last option. So Ahara, Vihara, Vichara, Aushadha. So your Agni has to be brought back by taking care of the way you eat, what you eat, when you eat, how much you eat, a lot of things. Okay. Then your lifestyle, what time you're getting up, what time you're going to bed, what time you're taking a shower, exercises, lot of things, your lifestyle, and then your thought process. Are you extremely tense, or what is your state of mind? Are you aggressive? You are anxious about things? Those things also will disturb your Agni. If these 3 things are basically taken care and they come into balance, automatically you might not need medicines to set your Agni back. Okay. Otherwise, with the help of medicines and balancing things, you can get your Agni back. Okay. I think Shodava. Okay, I hope I got it right. So that's the way you can get your Agni back. It's not only taking medicines. Yes, there are a lot of medicines which can increase your Agni, but if it has to stay balanced, then you have to start from your last episode. Oh, where did it go? Acharya has written which is the best. Gotten I went through the list. I don't know what's happening. Okay, yeah. So yeah, good. You'll find a lot of things. That's nice. What is the best dravya for a certain condition? Does slow healing of cuts and wounds means weak Agni or other reasons also? No, need not be Tejas Sharmati. Okay, I'll tell you, for a Vata person, the healing happens pretty fast. For him, it can, it's unpredictable generally. It can take long, but it's very unpredictable. For a Kapha person, the last healing of the wound will take a little bit more time. For a Pitta person, it happens faster. So it also depends upon the kind of prakriti you have got, or kind of state in which your doshas are at that point of time. And if you have got diseases, or if you have got conditions like diabetic and all those things, it can take a longer period of time. But everybody by and large will have their own pace at which they heal a wound. Some people, they can leave a scar. Some people absolutely no scar. It depends from person to person, their reaction to that wound. But slow healing of cuts and wounds need not basically mean it's bad. But if it takes an extremely long time, then there's always a chance of it getting reinfected. Okay, then it is something which you have to think about. Otherwise, it's okay. Hi, hello, Suma. If you balance all doshas in the body every time, then we will be the healthiest people. I understand your question. It is not about 33.3, 33.3, 33.3 here. Okay, if you're thinking that's the balance, each and every person has got their own balance. Like high vata, medium pitta, low kapha, or high kapha, medium, all whatever proportion you are. And there is a balance in that. If that balance is maintained, more or less, if that balance is maintained, that is where your health is. So your health in that balance does not mean that if that balance is achieved, somebody else can be healthy. No, your individual balance is where your dosha balance is. Hope you're able to understand that. Okay, so it's not about 33.3, 33.3, 33.3. It is where your proportion is. If that is kept more or less in balance, then you will definitely become healthy. That's a good question. Is Agni increase in Kashayam always fermented like Puti Karanja Som? Tejasmurti, no. Okay, Kashayam and anything which can be predominantly, which can reduce what you call kapha and increase pitta, are Agni Vardhaka. So there are three rasas. Let me put it this way: there are three tastes which have got Agni Mahabhuta in it. In the Pancha Mahabhutas, you have got Agni Mahabhuta in it. One is Katu, that is spicy. Other one is Levana, that is salt, and the third one is Amla, that is sour. All these three have got Agni in it. There's a reason why Acharya says during the hot summer you have to avoid these three tastes. Okay, so Kashaya, so in Kashayam, it doesn't mean that they are, see, this Kashaya is not the taste, this Kashaya is the formulation, Kashaya Kalpana. Kashaya Rasa is different, Kashaya Kalpana is different. Because by and large, when you make a Kada or a Kashayam, it tastes bitter, it is called Kashaya, but this is a formulation. So in any, or Agni, so when he said, is all Agni increasing Kashayam fermented? Need not be. Kashayams are a different kind. Even you boiling sont, dry ginger or chukka in water is also a kind of Kashayam. Okay, that is not fermented, right? It will still increase the Agni. So all Kashayams that increase Agni need not be fermented. Suma. Hi, sir. I feel sleep around 11 a.m. to 12 and I have sleep for 10 to 50. Though I sleep around 7 to 8 hours at night and I wake up fresh in the morning around 5 a.m. What could be the reason for this? Probably, your digestion might not be very good, or you might be having a very, 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 very heavy breakfast that is preventing you, that is probably taking time to digest, and you are feeling slightly groggy. There could be multiple reasons. Okay, and I would say probably your lack of exercise also would be one reason why your Agni is not as good as it's supposed to be. Multiple factors. I'm just giving you options. Okay. See what you're eating also. If you're somebody who eats idli or dosa for breakfast, yes, the presence of black gram, okay, masha, ulungan, might be one reason that can make you slightly, because it's very heavy to digest. There can be a lot of reasons, but I would say that it's because your Agni is not, it's taking time for your food to get digested. So the moment you consume food inside your tummy, the first stage of digestion is kapha stage. Okay, so when that takes time is when you slowly start feeling sleepy. If it digests pretty fast, and you enter pitta stage and you become fresh. Okay, So I think these are a couple of factors which I, out of my mind, I'm getting it. But if probably we spend some time, talking about certain things, then I might be able to find something else also, Suma. Okay. I've been feeling like this for way from so many years. Then what happens after a point of time, it becomes a habit, it becomes a routine for the body. That by this time, you see, it's all routine, right? You're getting up at, you're sleeping at a certain time, getting up at certain time, you're taking shower at a certain time, eating at a certain time, everything happens certain. And then, body is so used to it, then about 11 or 12 bodies going down. So you have, I would say, you have to break that habit somewhere. Gary, morning. My wife, 67 years, high pitta or vata, was told she has dry mouth. Okay. Acidity prone to cavity tightness. Any suggestions? Okay. So, dry mouth, yes, that means you have got more of vata. It can be a little bit of pitta also, but very less kapha here. Okay. Acidity I've written over there. Yes. So the main reason for cavity here is more of pitta associated with vata. Okay, it is not because of kapha. And I'll tell you one thing: the coating on on a tooth is enamel. Okay, it is the strongest substance in the human body. It is not something that can be easily penetrated. And even if you look at a dentist, when he is using a driller to drill your tooth, he uses a steel driller. Okay, the needle is a steel one, but you will have a diamond tip, because a steel cannot drill into enamel. You have to have diamond tip. That's strong the enamel is. So, but one thing that can erode the enamel is acid. So when the person becomes extremely acidic, the acid keeps on coming to the mouth, and the tooth gets exposed to acid more than normal, and then there is the erosion of the enamel happening, which makes the tooth prone to cavities. So I would say her acidity is something which has to be taken care of. Okay, once the acidity is taken care of, then the causative factor is taken care of. And then brushing your teeth every time after any meal is advised. And then, doing salt water gargling. Tiredness and all, probably, as I said, because she's got acidity, her Agni is displaced. So I want her Agni to be, so once the acidity is taken care of, the Agni is brought back into its place, and then the metabolism gets better, and slowly her tiredness will go down. I would say, Gary, take care of her acidity first. In summers, coconut oil good to use since it is Shita. Yeah, coconut oil, I don't know, Tejasmurti, whether you meant intake or for application. For application on the head, it is fine, but on the body, it doesn't. It's not very sticky, so I would not recommend using coconut oil on the body too much. You can use normal sesame oil, which is not very hot. Okay, it can be used during the summers also, but not mustard oil, which is heat generating, especially if you're not used to. Okay, but for cooking, if you're used to coconut oil, well and good. Most seasons you can have no problem. Some formulations like Sukumara available in Kashaya and Ghrita form. What is the difference in usage? Okay, so Sukumaram Ghritam is the formula which is there in the textbook. But Acharyas have made, especially in Kerala, you don't find Sukumaram Kashayam anywhere else. So the elderly Vaidyas who were there in Kerala found this Kashayam very effective, this yoga, okay, this combination very effective. So they have converted that into Kashayam also. Like Gulgulu Tiktakam Ghritam, Gulgulu Tiktakam Ghritam is the formulation, okay. Since we have found Gulgulu Tiktakam Ghritam very effective, in Kerala you'll find Gulgulu Tiktakam Kashayam, Gulgulu Tiktakam Ghritam, okay. Nimbamrudadi castor oil. Nimbamrudadi castor oil is the same. Gugulu Tiktakam, Nimbamrudasavam. They've converted that into fermented thing also. So it is basically a variation of whatever yoga you have found it. So people, where people they want the effect of the herbs to get into the body, but they don't want the base of ghee. then they prescribe Sukumaram Kashayam. Okay, so it is a variation, but generally it is Sukumaram Hridam, that is the yoga in the text. Yeah, Sitaram Sahu, hi. Are mercury-based medicines more powerful? Some say they work as catalysts. Once I use Vittumaram Gulga by the doctor is very effective. Also, not many people use Magaradhwaja. People use Siddha Magaradhwaja with gold. I know that. Okay, win 2 underscore 021. Okay. Okay, fine. What happens here is it is not that they're effective, more effective or something. Um, One thing you have to be very careful is that whenever heavy metals are being used, get it from reputed companies, because the shuddhi or the purification of the heavy metals have to be done really well. Okay, if they are not done really well, then there is a chance of heavy metal poisoning. Otherwise, Ayurvedic medicines, if prepared really well, given in the right dose, in the right condition, you will not have heavy metal poisoning. Okay, that's a myth. Now, Vetumarak Mulika given by a doctor, yes, probably you would have used it for fever or joint pains or something. Yes, it is very, 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 very effective. Okay. Now, in the north, yes, many people use Magaradhwaja, but as I said, there are a lot of small companies which manufacture Magaradhwaja, Siddha Magaradhwaja with gold and all those things. It gives a lot of strength to the body, yes. But as I said, get it from a reputed company and take it only after consulting a doctor. Just because it is good, don't take, just like people take ashwagandha, people take shilajit and stuff like that. They are all powerful, potent medicines. Okay, don't just go over the counter and take such things. Slowly, we're coming to the end of the session today. Okay, I am constantly getting continuous thoughts from past 4 years. What dosha imbalance is this? It depends upon what kinds of thoughts you're getting. If you are shifting from one thought to another, or if you're getting thoughts where you are getting burnt, or a lot of fire, or anger, or stuff like that, that could be pitta. You don't know what kinds of thoughts you're getting. Uh, if it is very aggressive, then it is pitta. If it is inactive, where then it could be kapha. But so we might not be able to make out just by telling what thoughts you're getting. Thoughts can happen. It can happen to everybody, and it is not that people are free of thoughts. Until and unless you have reached a certain stage, where you say you're in samadhi or somewhere, moksha, where you can be thoughtless or you can be in one thought. Because the chanchalam he manak Krishna, in Bhagavad Gita itself, it says the property of the mind itself is to be chanchalam. You are here 1 second, and another second you are somewhere else. So it's okay to have thoughts, but if they start disturbing you or your normal work or your sleep or some activity, then it is a problem we have to think of. Otherwise, let them come and go. Tejamurti, okay, no problem. Okay. What are properties of murko chips? Is it dry? I would say, they are pitta increasing. Anything that is fried, in oil, it's already caramelized. So that's the reason why you get addicted, so because of the caramelization. So it is not very good. It will pacify your agni immediately. So it is not very good for your system. You will notice that if you have just a few pieces of chips before your food, you will not feel like having food, right? So it increases kapha, and it deranges your pitta. And over a period of time, what will happen is, since you've consumed that, you will not eat food, and then it leads to vata imbalance. So chips are extremely bad. Okay, as I said, many are running behind ashwagandha and shilajit. Can eating one amla daily give you better general proposition in nature? So, yes. Okay, so amla is something which can be consumed on a regular basis daily, and you will notice that one fruit. And I don't want you to run behind amla. Okay, you might also see that there is a fruit called pomegranate. That is also something which you can consume on a regular basis. So whatever fruit is available, and mostly you notice pomegranate is available almost all time of the year. You can consume that, and when amla or amalaki is available. Stick to amalaki and avoid pomegranate. So let us be aware as to what is available around us and eat those. Okay. Amla is rasayani. It is one of the best rasayanis. It's called dhatri, dhatri means mother. It takes care of you just like a mother. Okay. Vayastha is one of that means it. Stha means to stay. Vayas means age. So it slows down your aging process. That means it is an amazing rasayana. Okay. Divine love, eternal Om. Love to you too. Can you use freshly harvested those rice for preparing those? Yes, you can definitely use, but I don't know how healthy that is going to be. I'm not of an opinion of dosa itself being very healthy. So and freshly harvested rice is definitely not healthy according to Ayurveda. You have to wait for a year before you actually consume it, so that the snigdha, the what it becomes, the guru guna from the rice, it starts becoming lagu. Okay. So today, thank you. We have come to an end today's session. Next week, okay. What kind of advice for someone with vata and pitta imbalance? Somebody who's vata and anything that can reduce vata and pitta at the same time is what you have to consume. Okay, clear, right? And what is the best thing that can pacify vata and pitta at the same time? There are basically two things which we can take as food. One is milk, and the other one is ghee. If you take milk and ghee, okay, as food, then your vata and pitta will stay mostly in balance. Okay. And one other thing you have to notice is that you are not supposed to do no over exert yourself. Too much of exercise will increase pitta and vata. Staying up at night, okay, eating too much of spicy food, alcohol, and stuff like that, and all those things will also increase vata and pitta. Okay, I would tell eat food on time, moderate exercise, sleep really well. Most of us will be balanced. Okay, so good night. See you next week with another session. Okay, namaste.